February 2, 1959. 9 experienced hikers set out on an expedition in Russia's Ural Mountains. None of them would return alive. What investigators found at the scene defied all logic, and has haunted the world for over 65 years. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, the deadliest and most mysterious hiking disaster in history. It was supposed to be a challenging but routine expedition. Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, led a group of 9 experienced hikers, 7 men and 2 women, all from the Ural Polytechnic Institute. Their goal? To reach Mount Otorten, a destination few had ever attempted in winter. The group was well prepared. They had proper equipment, ample food supplies, and extensive hiking experience. On January 27, 1959, they began their journey, documenting everything with cameras and detailed diary entries. One member, Yuri Yudin, turned back early due to illness. He would be the only survivor, and would spend the rest of his life haunted by what happened to his friends. When the group failed to return on February 12 as planned, alarm bells began to ring. On February 20, a massive search and rescue operation was launched. What they discovered shocked everyone. The hiker's tent was found on the slope of Kholat Syakhl, which translates to Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. But this wasn't an ordinary abandoned campsite. The tent had been cut open from the inside. Someone, or all of them, had frantically slashed their way out and fled into the freezing night. In temperatures of -25 to 30 degrees Celsius. Wearing only their underwear and socks. No shoes. No proper clothing. Just, running. Footprints led away from the tent down the slope, showing that at least 8 or 9 people had left on foot. Some were barefoot. Others wore only one shoe. The footprints showed no signs of struggle or panic initially, they walked calmly at first. Then, about 1.5 kilometers away, the trail ended. The first 2 bodies were found under a large cedar tree, near the remnants of a fire. Yuri Krivonischenko and Yuri Doroshenko were barefoot, wearing only underwear. Their hands showed signs of attempting to climb the tree, perhaps to see something, or to escape something. 3 more bodies were discovered between the cedar tree and the tent. Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin appeared to have been trying to return to the tent. They had died of hypothermia. But it was the final 4 bodies that truly terrified investigators. Found 2 months later in a ravine, buried under 4 meters of snow, their injuries were impossible to explain. Ludmila Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Her chest was crushed with force equivalent to a car crash. Alexander Zolotaryov had similar massive chest trauma, his ribs were completely shattered. Nikolai Thibault-Brignoles had a fatal skull fracture. Here's what made it even more disturbing, there were no external wounds. No cuts. No bruises. Just massive internal damage. The medical examiner stated the force required was beyond human capability. And that's not all. Some of the victims' clothing was found to be radioactive. High levels of radiation were detected on specific garments, with no clear source. Script: So what happened on Dead Mountain that night? Over the decades, investigators, scientists, and amateur sleuths have proposed countless theories. Let's examine the most compelling ones. Theory 1, avalanche. The most recent official explanation from Russian authorities in 2019 claims an avalanche caused the tragedy. But this theory has major problems. There was no evidence of an avalanche at the scene. The tent was still standing, not buried. And experienced hikers like Dyatlov would never camp in an avalanche zone. Plus, avalanches don't explain the radioactivity or the bizarre internal injuries. Theory 2, infrasound. Some scientists suggest that rare wind conditions created infrasound, low-frequency sound waves below human hearing. These can cause feelings of panic, dread, and irrational behavior. Could infrasound have driven the hikers into a panicked flee? Possibly. But it doesn't explain the physical injuries or radiation. Theory 3, Soviet military testing in 1959, the Ural Mountains were home to secret Soviet military installations. Some witnesses reported seeing glowing orange spheres in the sky that night, possibly missiles or rockets being tested. Could the hikers have stumbled upon a weapons test? Perhaps been exposed to a chemical agent or blast? This would explain the radiation, the panic, and the injuries. The Soviet government classified the case files for decades, which only adds to the suspicion. Theory 4, paradoxical undressing in severe hypothermia. Victims sometimes experience paradoxical undressing, they feel burning hot and remove their clothes. This explains why they were nearly naked. But it doesn't explain the crushing injuries, the missing body parts, or why they cut their way out of the tent in the first place. Theory 5, unknown force. The lead investigator wrote in his report that the deaths were caused by an unknown compelling force. He described it as a force that was beyond the control of humans. This vague conclusion In 2019, 60 years after the incident, Russian authorities reopened the investigation. After months of analysis, they concluded it was an avalanche. Case closed. But many experts and the victims' families reject this explanation. The truth is, we may never know what really happened on Dead Mountain. What we do know is this. 9 experienced hikers fled their tent in terror, in the middle of the night, in deadly cold. Something scared them so badly that freezing to death seemed like a better option than staying in that tent. Some suffered injuries that modern science still can't fully explain. And the Soviet government kept the case classified for decades. Was it a natural disaster? A military accident? Or something we still don't understand? The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. And perhaps, that's exactly what it will always be. A mystery. What do you think happened at Dyatlov Pass? Was it nature, human error, or something far stranger? Share your theory in the comments below. And if you want to explore more of history's darkest mysteries, subscribe to Hidden History with AI. Because some stories refuse to stay buried.